The President, Secretary of State Kerry, in particular Secretary of State Kerry, has been up on Capitol Hill saying this is a bad idea because all you do is play into the hands of the hardliners who don't want the new president of Iran to make any kind of deal with us. It will be bad faith. It will certainly make these negotiations go ahead and send Iran back into the corner to build nuclear weaponry. I want to read you something. There's Senator Mark Kirk. He is from Illinois. He's a Republican. He was in on one of those behind closed doors meetings, and he came out and had this to say about Secretary of State John Kerry's briefing. The administration very disappointingly said, discount what the Israelis say. This might speak to a larger problem. I think that you and this administration are on totally different sides, and really that that friction has now gone to Capitol Hill.
Well, first of all, this is a big issue, and people of good faith can have different opinions, and friends, and the best of friends, can have different opinions. We agree on a lot of things. There's some things we disagree on. And by the way, I don't think this is, from what I gather, is not a partisan issue either. There are Democrats who are calling for tougher sanctions, and there are Republicans who are saying keep the sanctions as they are. I'm speaking not from a partisan issue, except one. I'm the Prime Minister of Israel, and I have to care for the survival of my country. And Iran maintaining its nuclear weapons capability, that is, the capacity to produce nuclear weapons, threatens directly the future of the Jewish state. We've been around the Jewish people for about 4,000 years, and we're not about to let ayatollahs armed with nuclear weapons threaten that. But I will say that I don't think it's an Israeli issue either. You know, I can tell you, and it's no secret, that many of the Arab leaders around us have the same view that I have. And I always suggest to foreign leaders, to world leaders, when Israelis and Arabs are saying the same thing, and that doesn't happen very often, it's worthwhile paying attention. We're here, we're close to Iran, and we understand what Iran is doing.
Mr. Prime Minister, if a deal should be reached that is not to your liking, it sounds like no interim deal, that you want the whole thing, complete destruction of what they already have, as well as inspections to make sure they don't start up again. But if a deal is reached, there's more along the lines of what this president is pushing for. What is Israel's next move?
Well, I hope that we can achieve a far better deal. But the president and I have agreed on many things, and we agree that Israel always reserves the right to defend itself against any threat. I personally hope that a better deal is achieved, because that's the way to achieve a peaceful diplomatic solution. See, a bad deal you think will give you relief now, or will give you some time to check out something else, but you're not going to get that, because if the first step alleviates the pressure, you're not going to get more pressure down the line. You're not going to increase the pressure by lessening the pressure. And I would say, I don't advocate partial deals. I think partial deals are bad deals. But for those who do, I've said, and I've said this to the United States government and to the other P5+1 governments, if you want to do a partial deal, then decide what the final deal is, and then do one step. Decide that the final deal will actually implement the very terms that you, the P5+1, have put in the Security Council resolution, namely that Iran dismantle all its centrifuges and the plutonium reactor, which are used only for one thing, to make nuclear weapons. But Iran is adamant on maintaining these capabilities, and in fact, it is maintaining these capabilities. And it's receiving, as a first step, which may be the final step, a reduction of sanctions which could eliminate the sanctions down the line. Not a good idea.